Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Gilbert and I'm the CEO and co-founder of eMsika. We recently wrote an article titled The Modern Education System, and in that article we spoke about how one is no longer limited to the idea of sitting in a classroom at specific times for them to learn anything. Despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic being terrible and devastating, it made room for a lot of innovation across the world. One of them for us at eMsika is how we deliver information to farmers. You see, prior to the pandemic, we followed farmers to their residential areas to educate them on how to farm as a business, sometimes even having classes in the heat of the sun. Now, we get to reach a much wider audience who are young, old, experienced, and even aspiring farmers in the comfort of their homes or wherever they may choose to take their lessons from. Anyone is at liberty to attend any class at any time and study at their own pace using our recently launched platform, apunzile.com. In full words, Mulimi Apunzile. On this platform, we get to work with professionals from different fields: agrochemicals, livestock, plant diseases, and so on. If you would love to be part of this global community like I do, you can access our e-learning platform by simply going to www.apunzile.com and pick from a wide range of programs that we have made available for you. We look forward to seeing you there. And please remember, no farmer, no food. Thank you.
Independence. We want to wish all those that are listening to us via different platforms a happy independence, and we wish Mother Zambia a 57th, a beautiful and prosperous 57th independence. I know people might be tired from the various activities of independence, and as farmers, I know we are busy in our fields, harvesting, planting, preparing our fields, especially that the rains are starting. It rained, I know, as a matter of fact, in Zhunga. It rained part of Monze, it rained part of Livingstone, it rained somewhere in Central Province. And I received calls from different farmers that I interact with from these areas who have expressed happiness. And I want to tell every one of us that let's get ready. The planting season, the farming season, the rain season is upon us, and sleeping or being lazy or relaxing must be left behind now. We need to adjust our beds and be able to run to the fields so that at least we make hay while there's still time. So our role tonight is to present our lesson. I would want to issue an apology. Our friend who's supposed to present to us today, Mr. Abel Hangoma, is finding challenges to join us, and we'll see if he manages to come through. But I thought instead of waiting, we'll continue with another lesson, however, so that we keep his lesson for next week. But if he manages to come through early, as the people in the those that are controlling IT are helping us. So our lesson, temporarily, as we wait for things to be done, we'll look at the core elements of an agricultural transformational plan. You will notice that most of us are used to agriculture being a traditional or a customary way. It's done in a customary way. We no longer think of farming as a business. What we plant are traditional, just a 10 kg of maize, probably 20 or 30 kg of sunflower, the same with the soybeans, etc., etc. But what we want to share today is a transformational plan that changes people's mindset, things that we need to put in place, the elements that we need to consider, to put in place for us, not to think of the rain season per se, but to think of productivity throughout the year. The year has 12 months. The rain season mostly takes, the active rain season mostly takes about 3 to 4 months. Thereafter, the rains probably will have gone, and we need to still continue farming. So I will leave the aspect of organic farming for my friend who we hope can join us. If not, next week, I'm sure we'll make better arrangements because he was in Zhunga and then he had challenges with the phone. And now network issues where he is. So we hope he manages. However, we'll still proceed to look at core elements of an agriculture transformational plan. Now, when we talk about this, writers have said that for successful agriculture transformation to be able to be implemented for farmers to utilize this, the opportunity to raise their household income must be the core focus. So firstly, if you want to make agriculture your core business, you must have a heart of wanting to make it contribute to the income at your household level to start with. Secondly, corporately. Now, when you aim corporately, then you start transforming your ideas, or you start focusing at things differently, because what you start looking at now are issues of making profit. How do you use the soil? How do you use water? How do you use your hands? When you combine all these elements together, how can you make money? There are people that think agriculture is dirty. There are people who focus at agriculture as one of those issues that are just there and there's probably no money in it. But today I want to look at how best do you make those things work to your advantage so that you transform agriculture into a plan that is able to give you money. So, rural farming. I'm sure most of us are familiar with rural farming. I'll call it rural farming, mostly referring to subsistence and local farming, where you have a hectare of the 5, 7 lines, or a hectare of maize, and then etc. You harvest. You have 30, 40 bags, and you use them to eat throughout the year. So that usually presents a challenge. So although rural families often make their living from many different types of work, improvements in farming have proved to be the path towards widespread poverty reduction growth in the rural economy. They depend on agriculture for them to make a living in the rural setup or in subsistence farming. How so? They will plant even the 1 acre that they do. When they know they will number a number of bags for the year, 12, 24 bags a month. Beyond that, they sell and they are able to make a living out of that. Now, today we are going to look at going beyond that aspiration that a rural farmer has, or that a subsistence farmer has, that you and me need to focus on for us to be able to move ahead and make agriculture or farming work for us. Now, for some, that will mean raising farm productivity or shifting the mix of production to include higher value crops and livestock. So others think to make money, they need to sell high value crops. We're talking of crops like maybe grapes. They want to do chili. They want to do maybe popcorns and all these that they may be ascribed to have so much money to them. Now, even as I talk about this, we must know that everything in agriculture now can grow organically. The topic of organic farming is coming. I'm sure now we can say maybe next week. So everything can be grown organically. Now, to make money, most people think that it is to venture into high value crops and livestock, getting hybrids or good breeds of livestock will make them make good money on all that. And yet, it is going to be the issues that we are going to talk about here today that can help us grow and make our agriculture and our farming profitable. So, for others, the right choice will be to do less farming and take advantage of employment options off the farm. So there are those that think get money from the farm is when you have two types of work. You are working formally, at some place of work, and again you are doing your farming, so that the workplace is able to subsidize here and there. So as farmers have more money in their pockets, they spend more in the local economy, creating jobs, opportunities, and more demand for agriculture goods, and thereby growing our agriculture sector. So you and me must focus on growing this agriculture business, our farming aspects, to make them grow big. When they grow big, we are going to reach greater heights, and we are going to make our household income grow, and thereby corporately together, then our economy may boost. Most great economies, actually, this is proven, have grown because of agriculture. If we have fish production, if we have cattle ranching, if we can improve in our maize production, soybeans, sunflower, and every one of us contribute towards this, believe you me, there's nothing that this country can fail to achieve and do. So it is in agriculture that most our future should be focused on. I'm glad in how His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has ably embraced issues of small-scale operations, medium-scale operations, and farming also. Because the Minister of Agriculture has promised that those who engage themselves in agriculture issues, they will be supported. And it's time now that all of us should be able to venture into such ideas. Now, let's quickly look at the 6 elements that distinguish a superior agriculture plan from that is inferior. You and me as farmers, what do we need to focus on to make our agriculture meaningful, to make our farming creative, to make our productive farming more necessary to our country, to our household, to our individual selves? So we'll look at these 6 elements, and then we hope with time we can bring in questions so that all of us can interact. So first, number 1, we are looking at prioritized and differentiated strategies. Those that are writing can write. You have to have a prioritized and differentiated strategies. There are people who are doing the same things year in, year out, same mistakes every season. You can't afford in agriculture to do that because it has the potential of ruining your interest for farming. Now, develop an agriculture transformation plan. Developing an agriculture transformation plan demands prioritization. What you prioritize must be what you want to deliver, must be what you know you will be able to deliver without problem, must be something that you understand very well. A plan will not succeed if it tries to cover everything. Focus yourself what you want. If you say, this season I'm planting maize, let it be maize. Do everything that you can to study about maize, from land preparation to harvesting. Understand the diseases, understand the pests, understand the soils, understand fertilization, understand how to do the weeding, when to do the weeding. If it's sunflower, do the same. Instead, it should focus on the changes that are most likely to kickstart rural economic growth or subsistence farming that mostly people are involved in. Now, success plans identify goals in a limited number of crop and livestock value chain. Understand your goals. What do you want to achieve? How many bags of maize do you want to achieve? How many bags of soybeans do you want to produce? How many tons of tomatoes do you want to produce? When you understand it that way, because your measure, what informs you, what you are going to plant, what you are going to do, is what your goal and what your aim is at the end of the plan Like now, we are getting into the rain season. Do you have already a plan of how much hectareage of maize do you want to plant? Do you have a plan of how much hectareage of soybeans you want to plant? Don't want to start coming to plant when the rains now are in their second or third week. Then that's when you are preparing your ridges for planting. Then already you are missing the priority part of it. So we must be able to prioritize. When we prioritize, put things in order. And the cross-cutting agriculture sector enablers, such as lower transportation costs for access to irrigation and specific geographic. Now, you must know, of course, now the meteorological department has told us that there will be good rains, but still have a plan. What if along the way there is a drought for a month and you have planted 30 hectares of soybeans? You wilt together with your plants. So there must be a backup plan in your prioritization. Make sure there's a backup plan. That plan must be the plan that if in case I do not have water, this will be my irrigation plan. In case I harvest so much, because I've heard testimonies, people have written even on my wall asking questions, where someone planted, they planted 17 hectares of soybeans. They were only able to harvest 5 hectares. And 12 hectares of soybeans went to waste. Why? Because they didn't plan even on how they will harvest. It's not just thinking of putting up a plant or putting up a plant and planting. Planting can be easy. If just on soils you put seeds, they do grow. But what is important is plan the whole process, even as you have prioritized. So, a second related success factor in this first issue is differentiation. Now, successful agriculture transformation plan differentiate agri-food systems and geographic areas with tailored strategies. Now, in the past, we used to know that groundnuts would be grown in Eastern Province. And that was the hub of groundnuts. Why? Because of the geographical conditions. Pineapples were grown in Munilo, or let me say northwestern. Why? Because of the geographical conditions. Honey, the major producer of honey in Zambia is northwestern. And because of the geographical features, maize production, central and southern provinces have usually supplied maize. Why? Because of the geographical conditions. Now, even as you put up your priorities and plan, understand where you are located. How much rainfall is expected? I think this was even emphasized last week's class. Understand that very well, because you may be planting things that will not perform better. You may harvest, but you could have actually planted something else that could have performed better than what you have planted. Now, this is very important for a farmer. For a successful agriculture transformational plan, understand very well your geographical area. Now, if the other related success factor lies in weighing the trade-offs among multiple objectives. Now, this means the government must work together towards a number of different goals, including growth in agro-processing, reduced unemployment, lower poverty incidences. Now, you can't have a farmer waking up early in the morning on an empty stomach and expect that they are going to do wonders and wake up and work to increase productivity. It may not happen that way. So what usually happens is there must be a part that government plays for us as individuals to economies. Our things, our basic needs at least must be met. Now, these basic needs includes issues to do with housing, food, shelter, water, and these are things that if we have, even working becomes easy. I know of people that they have successfully executed a transformational agriculture plan without these, like from rural and now they are commercial farmers. But it is not easy, and it is not applicable for most of other people. The government must come in. And what has government now done? Through FISIP, it is giving seed, it is giving fertilizers, and it's giving also knowledge. Apart from such platforms where people can learn freely, people are able to get fertilizer from the government. Now it has promised that it will give 6 bags of fertilizers and a 10 kg of seed, which is something our tummies are full, our minds are not clothed, because you will not do anything without on an empty stomach. So these work together. So if these trade-offs are explicitly considered and communicated when developing this agriculture transformational plan, it is possible to tailor the choice of value chain, cross-cutting enablers and other things to work to our advantage. Exactly what I have said. What you and me want is when we wake up, as we go to the fields to plant, to think of a good crop, to apply our fertilizers well. Our minds must be able to be on top of things. We must have people who work together with us. If it's family, if it's employed people, and all those are motivated and we get together, then we are going to work at a plan or things that are going to help us reach very far. Now, the second issue. So we're talking about prioritized and differentiated strategies. The summary is prioritize what you want to plant, know what you are going to plant, and understand it very well. Under these things, we have looked at strategies, or I can say factors, success factors, like differentiation, agriculture, and understand where you are coming, which region you come from. Understand also factors like what the government needs to do and what it is doing, and be able to take that advantage. Because if you do not, you may not have that advantage from anywhere else. So those are some of the things we've discussed under a prioritized and differentiated strategy. Now, the second factor is market-driven opportunities for farmers. Agriculture transformation often focuses too much on volume rather than value and productivity of raw crops, rather than those that may have value addition. So most of us, the majority of us, who understand how to grow maize, who understand how to grow tomatoes, who understand how to grow soybeans. All right, I think internet is really bad. Let's see how far we can go, because I've been seeing that notice coming through. Let's see how far we can go, and we quickly sum up. So we are talking about adding value, like market-driven opportunities for farmers. Most farmers, I visited a group of farmers, some cooperative in Mumbwa, of women. It's a church-based organization. They invited me, and they were talking. We were talking about value addition. So they grew a lot of groundnuts. So they bought some. They bought some groundnut making, peanut making machines. So I was just explaining to them on how they can actually maximize and make it more profitable to them for their corporate. So you find they harvest 5 bags of groundnuts, and from there they'll make just 2 bottles of peanut because the machines that they have are not enough. So they'll sell the rest. So I'll say, then what's the purpose? Why don't you plant so much, make at least some money, and buy bigger machines that will be able to make of peanut, and then you sell it at peanut level instead of selling your raw material to the out there. So now they actually did that the last season, and they grew a lot of groundnuts. This season, as we are planning, they have planned for even a bigger field because they were able to make a lot of peanut and sold to a lot of people. So that is value addition. Others plant maize. So instead of selling maize, why not buy a hammer mill? You know how expensive mini mill is now. And apart from that, from the same hammer mills, you'll be able to make feed for the animals. From the same hammer mills, make some and sell. So that is value addition. You package them nicely and all that. So we need to learn this aspect of market-driven opportunities for farmers. Farming households in developing countries like Zambia, they balance the portfolio of crops and also stock. Okay, and work if you have to as you are growing. So because they feed their families with some of the farm output, as well as selling to market, they make decisions based on their potential profit. How much money you want is what will inform how far you can go in your planting. You will not plant beyond what your goals are. In the first decision, so in Zambia now, for example, important entrants into this subsistence farming have concluded that the most effective way to address household poverty was to grow high value crops. For example, people now are growing strawberries, they are growing tomatoes, they are growing chili and the cucumbers and all that. But if you see, all they sell is a cucumber, it's a tomato. And then those selling tomatoes, you visit their fields, it's a sorry sight. You find a lot of the tomatoes is lost, is left out in the fields, either rotting or it's eaten up by insects and etc. etc. So what we need now is to move a step beyond planting tomato. Our friends in Botswana now, they've gone into producing what is paste and tomato powder. So they actually buy the tomato from outside Botswana because it doesn't produce tomatoes. They'll get them from South Africa. When they import them, they'll make paste, they'll make tomato powder and all that. While here tomato goes to the west. The other time I saw some farmer in the Eastern Province who just threw the tomatoes out just like that and saying that the prices were too low. That's the challenge. I was actually laughing with someone who sells charcoal. Says, no, the most poor people are the producers. Those who produce charcoal, they only sell the charcoal 200 per bag. Or no, the producers will sell maybe 50 kwacha per bag. Those that buy now to sell and package them in smaller bags, they will sell them now at a higher price, what reaches to us. So the same also with those fishermen. If you go to Kafue now, those who catch the fish, they'll catch the kg, they'll sell them very cheap, the same in Simbwalanga and all that. But those that at the end of it, when they add value to it, they sell at a higher, exaggerated price. So it's similar. If we want to do more, let us now add value to the high value crops. If you're doing strawberries, don't just do the strawberries and sell them just like that. Get the strawberries, the clean as they are, buy those nice trays, they put them on, wrap them with a plastic. If you can afford, put a logo on it and sell it out firstly to the streets or in the streets, or if you are able, get some contracts with the supermarket, because that is easy. Strawberries are easy to sell up, to sell. Let's develop that. Now, high value crops, and then of course we'll talk about livestock. The other another day. So that was the second one. The third element that we'll talk about is change agents identified and mobilized. So the success of any agricultural transformation relies on how well the millions and smallholders and small and medium-sized enterprise can be helped to change farming practices as quickly and efficiently as possible. Like what we are doing, reaching out to a lot of people helps in a number of ways. Because as soon as you grasp the idea and change and move forward, then your profits start to be counted. So you are able to make money in a little time, just from one season. You can plant 5,000 plants of tomatoes and be able to harvest every week 100 boxes of tomatoes. And now the tomatoes, the crates of tomatoes are selling for 200 baht average. They of course go up to 240, 250, 150, 180. Let's say 200. So if you have your 100 every week by 200 kwacha, you are talking of 20,000 every week. That's a lot of money. And you can harvest, in a number, some variety, because of course there are different varieties. There are determinant and indeterminate. So those that can take longer, you are able to harvest for 4 or 5 months. And you can imagine every week, of course, you skip some weeks for fertilization and etc. So let's say in a month you harvest 3 weeks. That's 60 p. Just from 5,000 tomatoes, of course, under good management. So now, if you are adding value to that, half you are selling half of value, or the whole of it in value to them, selling to markets, big markets. I know some enterprises that can buy tomato to paste and etc. So that now the whole ballgame. We stop importing things like tomato paste. We stop importing things like chili and all these other things, because we're able to produce. So that is where you and me must act very quickly and realize that dream. Because the critical enabler without which an agricultural transformation is likely to fail is the frontline change agent that helps farmers modify their practices. Change agents are people who farmers trust and interact with regularly. An example of myself, an example of government workers, an example. Now, these are very critical people, because if they send the wrong signal that things are hard, you can't afford, and you start competing amongst yourselves as the people who need to bring transformation, there's nowhere you are taking the people that learn from you. Our role is to motivate. Farming is not easy, but it can be made easier if we work together, if we interact, we share the challenges, we share the problems. We are able to meet people in their difficulties, in their problems, and lift them and show them the goodness, even as we experience them ourselves as change agents, even as we experience them as government. Last time, I think the first time Zambia was hit by armyworms, a lot of people lost their maize, but the government did not sit back. And that is the role that the agriculture sector and change agents must play. We must be able to get to the people and tell them how the next season they should be able to counter. And the government should be able to come up with varieties that are resistant to some of these diseases, to some of the pest control management. And that now brings out the aspect of even the farmer will have the confidence to get into the sector and do what they can and do it best. Okay, why do we always advertise certain varieties? Why do we talk about this and that varieties? It's because some of them, scientists or companies, have sat down and have developed a resistance for certain diseases, a resistance for drought, a resistance to certain things that are around. So that is very important and very so search engines provide the critical interface with farmers. The trouble that is there is even to access information these days, it's expensive. A lot of consultants, which is okay, which is fine. And farmers must learn also to spend for knowledge. Spend for knowledge. And it's only when you have spent money to something that you attach the seriousness that it deserves. If it's free, you don't even pay attention. Very few people value free things. Even these lessons, people just come and it's free. This man again making noise. And this chap, what is it saying? And that. But if someone has paid for it, even when you say, you see them with a paper and taking notes. Because I do consultancy, I charge people. The difference when someone you're telling for them for free information, just how they like it, just how they will be relaxed. But if it's they've paid for it, they will literally be asking and probing more to understand things even better. Okay, let's quickly move. I think time is running out. So finding the right starting point for scale is very important. So change in agriculture system requires multiple parallel advancements. For example, improvements in agriculture extension and seed systems. So this is tied to the area one. You need to know what planting. You plant varieties that are able to give you what you want. Okay. So as in a complex economic system, when so many elements are interrelated, any one of them can become a constraint and store progress. I think the bigger challenge is the money. That's usually our biggest constraint. We find what limits what we can grow is money. People have learned, a lot of people have learned that I know, but they don't have money to put up irrigation. They don't have money to buy certain varieties. They don't have money to support the work. Find the employees. There are employees that have, sometimes I receive many calls asking for work and all that. But what about where you are working? No, it's 5 months now. My boss doesn't pay me and all that. So those are some of the constraints that are faced by farmers. So instead, make a best agricultural transformational plan by looking at these factors. How much money is needed? We are arranging that we can have a lesson also on financing in agriculture sector. We hope we'll be successful soon so that we can talk about how to raise finances. But start small, like I have always emphasized. You don't have to go big from the start. Start small and grow. Organic growth is very important. Just slowly yourself and you get there. So instead of the best agriculture transformational plans have two critical characteristics. They anticipate. Okay, so that's finding the right starting point. So we are saying that the common reaction to this interdependence problem on some of these things that limit us: money, land, so that's capital, land, sometimes labor, and all that is when so many elements are interrelated, like the things I've said. Any one of them will, of course, act as a constraint, and it will store our progress. A common reaction to this is to try to move all elements ahead in a highly prescribed way, specifying interventions up and down value. And now that requires planning. Get a credit if you can, and be able to pay back. Because don't create for yourself a name that you fail to pay back, and you fail to give back to what you played. So that is the very important. Okay, so let's move to Number 5, I'm hoping to close in the next 5 minutes or so that we can interact. So the pragmatic approach with an investor mindset. This is very important in our president's voice, very important. Now, approaching transformations with an investor mindset is critical to the success of a process. An investor comes in to put money so they can reap the results. Without that, there's no way an investor can put in something where they do not see any profit. Now, when you have that approach, it becomes easy. It becomes very easy for you to be able to know exactly what you want to get from that which you are doing or intending to do. So in kickstarting agriculture transformation, coordination among government, donors, and civil societies is critical. I'm sure most farmers interface a lot with the agriculture extension officers. And in some areas, there are some projects either under, they could be under different, there are projects under different under different sectors that come through to our communities. If it's livestock, you find maybe Africa or there was Africa then, I don't know now. Okay. Especially church-based institutions, there's network problem. All right, yeah, especially church-based institutions. So this is very important because it's only when you have such factors working together, I take advantage, like I said earlier, because if you miss out such opportunities, it becomes difficult for you to do anything. Okay, so agriculture transformation plan with an investor mindset includes 3 strategic planning components. Firstly, the plan identification, public investment that complements likely private sector. This is what I've been talking about. So you have the public sector, the government comes in, the private sector, other people and other projects, people coming together to work together to do. There's a lot of money that is spent on these projects to just help a farmer. Some people will be taught on how to make, how to process honey, how to make maybe maize meal, and do value addition in these communities. It could be women leagues in some churches. They will be having lessons on such things and complementing. And those are very, very important. Then secondly, a good agriculture transformation. Secondly, agriculture transformation plans with an investor mindset anticipate changes in enabling environment that will be necessary as the transformation progress to support increasing private sector engagement. The support for these policies, laws, and regulations are usually cross multiple sector in addition to agriculture. Now, this brings out an important issue of how regulations, laws are able to promote agriculture in its practical sense. Some laws can be inhibiting or inhibitive. Some are promotion. And also certain practices can be good and some can be bad. And all these are usually dependent on the communities we come from. There's been Chitemene systems before. And in some areas, they will practice different practices of agriculture. Some are very harmful to the environment. They'll cut all trees and burn down the the stumps. They'll just want to clear land, and they'll purely depend on chemicals. That is against the environment. So you find that sooner or later, the rainfall pattern is affected. Someone is doing a research, by the way, where they are saying we've had 2 successful rain seasons, including this season, because of the COVID. Most industries shut down. There was less pollution to the air. And by so doing, there was a regeneration of crops, areas which could not, that is a scientific issue. But people are saying that now it has regenerated and we are able to have all these because there's less pollution there. Industries closed down in the major industries in America, in Europe, and in parts of Africa because of the COVID. So now we are able to experience this. As we go again the next 3-4 years, we will get back to the same because the industries are opening up and all that. So that's the hypothesis that other people will have to prove. I would not want you to quote me on that one, but that's what people are saying out there. Okay, so let's look at the progress on the enabling policies as our last element. Now, agriculture transformation is more than changes in farming practices. It is about catalyzing transformation of a country's rural economy or lifting up the poverty or the poor, the poverty-stricken people, the poor, and those that are low in the income levels to bring them to medium. Those that are medium go to the high earning bracket. And then slowly we'll be lifting up everyone else. And that is what our goals should be. You cannot have people living in the same neighborhood. The other one is doing very well in agriculture, has 10 hectares or 20 hectares and is planting and is successfully harvesting. Then the neighbor is struggling. There's a problem there. I'm a socialist, or let me not call myself a socialist. Maybe I have some problem, but I don't feel good at my farm for the farmers that are not doing well. So those that are surrounding me, at least I make sure they learn with me. At least they can learn from me if I do something well. When I see something that they're doing fine, I trouble them also for me to learn from them. And by so doing, we are lifting up each other. There is no chance to compete. We all have the same market. Even if I've said this here, even if all of us here today that are watching via Zoom or Facebook planted tomatoes, trust me, we will all find market and sell. Therefore, it should not give me happiness to see my neighbor and my friend struggling and failing. I should be pained. And if I lift them up, then we are all going to be successful. Ultimately, our country will reach greater heights. That's how people have been able to develop. And those that give, by the way, receive, much as it may be a moral aspect, but I think I have seen it working for me. The more knowledge you give out, the more knowledge you acquire, and the more people will be free with you. And you learn more when they're asking you questions. And that must be encouraged at all times for us to have a good transformational agriculture plan, both at country level or at the national level, at our individual levels. That is the lesson that I thought we share today. We should have had the organic farming as a business investment, but the presenter has faced challenges. I think the network has been poor and very bad today. We hope we can redeem ourselves from this so that we are able to reach different people, especially in the issues of organic farming. Thank you so much. I'll hand over to the to Mulimi Apunzile for questions that may have come. At least we have 5 minutes, then we can attend to them.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful training. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Even despite having network issues, we thank you that you are still here. and paying attention. Would want to thank you also for joining us, all those who are watching us on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the training, and also drop in your comments and also your questions so that we can get to them right about now. Don't forget, this training is brought to you by eMsika Services Limited under the team of Mulimi Apunzile. Thank you for also checking us out. You can also check us out on Facebook, which is Mulimi Apunzile, and also eMsika Services Limited. Also check out our YouTube channel where we can post all these trainings and many more. Also check out our websites, which is eMsika.com, where you can get your farming inputs or everything like farm machinery, fertilizer, soybeans, all those things are available at eMsika.com. Also check out more trainings like this on apunzile.com, where you'll find wonderful, wonderful trainings. Right about now, we'll get to a question from Martin, which is, how do you balance your daily work, which is a source of capital, and the farm in its early stages in the startup? You spend 80% of your time at work, but the farm also needs you. You don't have a car, etc., like transport. You don't have transport. How do you go about that?
Yes, Emmanuel, I can take maybe 2 or 3 questions. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, yes. Should I read it again, sir?
No, I said maybe we get 3 questions and then we attend to them.
Oh, right about now, we only have that one.
Okay, so balancing is usually a difficult issue. Firstly, because our interests may be at our workplaces. So I had a lesson here where we talked about part-time farming, and I shared a number of things. So to Martin, it might be important for you to just scroll down on my page, like my page if you haven't liked it, scroll down and check out for a lesson on the do's and don'ts of part-time farming, because your question focuses more. I think it's a question on part-time, because you're talking of working this side and 80% of the farm also needs you, and you have no vehicle, all that. So look out for that lesson. It's a long question. It's a long presentation, but very helpful. I would encourage you to look out for that. But in brief, you need to reach out to your workers, understand them and trust them, and let them know you are the owner and you have knowledge about what you are doing, and you constantly ask them, call them. You may not presently, you may not physically be present, but at least you must be able to call them via phone. You must be able to go there over weekends, go there after work hours, and do prompt visits, do planned visits. Put up a house there for yourself, such that sometimes you can spend the night there when they didn't expect. You can go there in the night and still sleep, and all those other issues. So that will help you focus and I think achieve greater things. You can still be successful as a part-time farmer. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. For those who are asking if you can have a recorded video of this session, yes, this video will be available on YouTube. That's eMsika Services. You can watch even the do's and don'ts session that Mr. Zhunga has talked about. You can scroll down on his Facebook page, or if you can't find it, you can go on YouTube, eMsika Services, and you'll find the entire training and under the do's and don'ts of farming. I have a question from Benny. Organic animal farming. Do you have any information about that? Then we also have another one from Facebook. That's Kid Coat. Is it advisable to resign from formal employment so you can focus on farming? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm following. Okay, let me answer those two. So the first one was organic what?
Organic animal farming. Do you have any information about organic animal farming?
Okay, so let me answer first the last one, advice on resigning. I would not say resign if you are working. What I would say is farming is a business venture. It can be an investment and a worthwhile investment for that matter, if you take it well. And your workplace might be an opportunity for you to run your farm better. And you must know when to resign, when to take it as an opportunity. Now, what you have to understand is, know what the benefit you get from your workplace. You reach a level, I think, in your work where your income at work actually inhibits your growth, or your dependence at work inhibits the growth at your farm. And this I've had the chat many times with the colleagues and friends who still want to work, and they're asking questions. Why are you not stopping work? And for me, it's a business venture. And the way I run my farm is different from how others run the farm. My farm is run purely as an enterprise, where I have a farm manager, a degree holder for that matter. I have managers in different sectors for fish, for livestock, for crops. And under them, there are different workers. And they run out and they run and they execute their work. So my role is basically to come in for supervision because of the knowledge. I help them, teach them, and learn also from them. So it's a way of how you understand yourself. If you feel it's inhibiting your growth at the farm, where you can put in a lot of energy and do great and wonderful and wonders, why not resign? If you still think the work is actually supplementing the farm, because the others are running a farm, it's actually not a pure enterprise. They have to be there, they have to monitor, and if they do not ask any question or do anything, then it goes down, and etc. etc. So understand and know at which level you are. And then you also do well to watch the do's of part-time farming, like the first organic animal farming. So let's see, plan to have a lesson in livestock, animals, and then we'll be able to attend to these problems, because the issue is this organic animal farming. We need to understand. I want to understand it as organic growth of animal farming, where you allow the animals to grow as they should grow organically without you interfering in reinvestments of other breed, crossbreeding, and all these other things. So we'll have a class for that where we will be able to discuss and understand it better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Tax Zambia, the name of the Facebook page is Zhunga Simbwalanga. That's Zhunga Simbwalanga. Or you can also search for Zhunga Farms. You can find us Zhunga Farms, that's Facebook. Or you can also check for eMsika Services Limited, eMsika Services Limited, and Mulimi Apunzile. Mulimi Apunzile.
So we've talked so much on these things, and says in terms of our consultant services, I am available. My number is there on my Facebook page. Please like my page. I every Sunday invite different presenters. Today we are supposed to have the Abel Angoma on organic farming, but he has faced challenges. To make sure he comes to join us maybe next week or so. So like the page, share with others, invite others to also like the page. Let's see, grow together. Let's help one another. I think those are my words. I would like to thank you who have followed us through and encourage you that let's farm this season. Let's choose the right those that we know and understand. And let's seek consultants so that we are doing the right thing. That was our presentation today, not understanding. So over to you, Emmanuel, for your closing. Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you everyone for joining us on this wonderful training. Thank you for sticking around even though we had all these network issues. We are glad that you are with us throughout the wonderful training. Please don't forget, you can check out the do's and don'ts of farming on YouTube. Check it out, as the trainer has indicated. We wouldn't want to miss that. It has so much information under it. Please do like our Facebook pages, that's Zhunga Farms and Zhunga Simbwalanga, and also Mulimi Apunzile and eMsika Services Limited. Also check out our website where you can find affordable prices. I saw people asking about the prices on the eMsika website. Please do check it out. That's eMsika.com. We currently have interesting promotions under soybeans that you can also look into. Also check out apunzile.com, where you can find this training and many more trainings from Mr. Zhunga. Thank you everyone for joining us once again. Have a wonderful week and good night. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye. God bless.